sorry, this is a second video. So I called the police, and they're like, "Wind up police department, how can I help you?" I said, "Hi, I might need a police officer to so and so and so and so and so and so." And they're like are you and they're like, "Why do," and I even said to them that that my stepmom and my dad will not leave the church parking lot. They're harassing me and forcing me to go with them to go to their house or whatever. And they were like and they were like, are they were asking me if I was a minor? I said, "Oh no, I'm 28 years old. I'm 28 years old." I even said that. And they said, "Do you have guardian?" They said, "Do they have guardianship over you?" I went, "Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, but my mom said I don't. My mom said she didn't care if I lived here." So, the police came. Obviously, the police came, and they went to talk to my dad first. They went to, like, I have to say, like, four police cars showed up. And I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting to have four police cars showed up. While they were talking to my mom and my stepmom and my dad, they came over to my house, on the towards the steps, and they said, "Oh, they just want to spend time with you, blah, blah." I said, "No, they don't. No, they don't. They do not want to spend time with me. They do not. Because they would have said that to me, and they never did. They never said, 'We want to spend time with you.' They never did. They never did. So anyways, um and I said, you can, and I even told the cops, they cannot force me, and you guys cannot force me that if I want to go or not. They would keep on saying, "Well, they just want to spend time with you." No, they don't. They would have said that whatever my dad and my stepmom told them, it was a different story. It really was. It was a different story. Whatever they told the cops, and they didn't call the cops. I did, because they weren't leaving me alone. They weren't. So anyways, 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 Tina, sorry, my stepmom and my dad, um, she so they went to talk to them first, like I said, and probably eight police. I have to say, eight police officers showed up to my door. Well, not to my door, but when I saw them walking by my house, I was in my pajamas, of course, and I was so embarrassed to be in my pajamas, and they know me. They know I'm special needs, and I showed them proof of my anxiety attack medicine, um, which you have to have a doctor's note, and I didn't have that with me, because I think it's only school that has that, and I think work too. I'm not sure, but and I think day camp too. I had that with me, but I didn't have the doctor's note with me. And then I had my ID with me, of course, because you have to show you have always show your ID. So and then so I called my mom because they wanted to talk with my mom, and they wanted to talk with my mom, and so when I was talking to one of the police officers, I gave them my ID to one of the police officers I was talking to. And while the other police officer was talking to them, to my mom, to my stepmom and my dad, they were like they were just yelling, and like, not my dad, but my stepmom was just yelling and screaming, and it sounded like she was crying. She was not, like, girl. I was like, lady, if you're gonna, you should not be telling me to call the cops if you're gonna scream and yell and sound like you're crying because you told me to call the cops. Are you serious? Don't be screaming and yelling if you're gonna tell me to call the cops. Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that. So anyways, um, so I just was just like, and then, and then I wasn't shocked. I mean, I can see where she wasn't shocked, but because if my kid ever did that, I would say that would be, I mean, I would say that's shockable, like, not shockable, but I would say that's really shock. I mean, I would be in shocked if one of my kids did that, but I don't have any kids, um, so anyways, so, so, and then my mom even said that she's an adult. She's 28 years old. We have cameras and we're friends with the neighbors where we have a group chat with the neighbors um, and and one of the officers that was talking to my mom, he goes, do you want her to stay here? She goes, yes, I would like her, she stayed here. So once they got off the phone with my mom, the the officer, I mean, I even told the officer that I had to quit my job is because of them, because they're too lazy to drive me. And they're like, why did you have to quit your job? I said, because they were too lazy to drive me. And they said, why did they have to drive you? Because it said on the guardianship paper that they have to drive me. It's because I don't drive. I don't even have my license. I don't even have a permit, you know? So, that golf cart that you guys saw, you don't have to have a license for that, but you do have to have a license to buy one. But that was something else. But anyways, and plus we were even on the road. My caregiver was teaching me how to drive a golf cart because it was hers. Um, anyways, the one of the officers I was talking to, they said, what did mom say? And my mom, and and the officer was like, she said her mom said she can stay. So anyways, so I was like, and then, I shook the officer's hands. I said, thank you so much. They went to talk with my dad. I went inside and I looked out the car, not the car door. I looked out the window and they were gone. I was like, thank you, God, you know? So, and then I was like, okay, and I was like, okay, I'm safe. I don't need to deal with them anymore. Plus, I have a TV to entertain me. So, and there's food around the house. And they did ask, do you mind if I come up the steps? I said, yeah, I don't mind if you come up there. You don't even have to ask, because they wanted, like, this is like before they even talked with my mom. And I said, you guys can go inside the house. There's no one here. I mean, but it was, and plus there was the air conditioning was on. The air, the air conditioning was on. It would be much cooler if they went in, but they can't. I heard that they cannot go in when they have to have a warrant when a special needs person is living there. I don't mind if they came in without a warrant. I really don't. But obviously that's their job. Um so so anyways, um so anyways, I even said to them, um not said to them, but I was like yeah, like I was even, like I said, I was like, I'm okay. I feel safe. No one has to bother me anymore, and no one has to bother me anymore, so I don't have to deal with them. And so last night, and this was last night, that I did tell my mom that I don't feel like I want to live with dad anymore because I don't feel safe there. So I don't feel safe there. So I was like, okay, yep, and this morning, right before I even did this video, that I even said, Dad, I'm going to live with mom from now on, is because I don't feel safe when Tina's there. And he didn't care. He said, okay. I said, I was like thinking in my mind, like, was like, wow, You don't even care how I feel over your own daughter. Are you serious? Are you serious? To be honest with you, that is not okay to feel what your daughter's feeling over your own daughter. I mean, are you serious? Like I said, whatever my stepmom wants, my dad gives it to her. Whatever my stepmom gets, my dad gives it to her. So, um, anyways, so yeah, and I said, okay, well, you're gonna ship my stuff over. He goes, no, I'm not. I said, you can get your own stuff. I said, okay, I'm not going inside the house when she's there. And I said, you're going to ship my stuff over. You owe me $60 and $20 and a Justin Bieber cutout. And didn't say anything. I said, deal with it. He said, I will deal with it. I said, okay. So anyways, like, he didn't care how I felt. And, and yesterday when we were talking, my mom was saying that I ruined their 4th of July trip. Where were they going to go? They weren't going to go anywhere. So how can I ruin it? How can I ruin their 4th of July trip? They weren't going anywhere. And, and this is when before I even called the cops, they're asking if I can stay over my boyfriend's, if I can stay over my, Nana's house, or if I can stay over my aunt's house, because my dad wanted a babysitter, like I said, and I told the cops that they wanted me to have a babysitter because they were asking to go over my boyfriend's house or to go over, and I did say a babysitter and everyone go to my Nana's house, and the cops were like, they just said nothing about babysitter. I said yes, they did, and I even told them that they asked about going over my boyfriend's house, going over my my Nana's house, going over my aunt's house, and yeah, so they did ask. They were asking for a babysitter. They never told the cops that. Like I said, they told the cops two different. Like, they told the cops they forgot to leave out two different things: babysitter and never telling me about spending time with me. So I'm thinking I'm doing a court date for doing all this because it was just a big mistake of what my dad married my stepmom. I have to say that. Because my dad told my mom saying that when I marry her, things will not change. I will still drive her and blah blah. Things changed a lot. They did. Things changed a lot. So anyways, so I told my mom, I said, I'm just gonna live with you. And he goes, okay, I'll talk to Keith about it, which is AKA my stepdad. So yeah, I told my stepdad, and I didn't tell my stepdad. My mom forgot to tell my stepdad on the way to work. But when I told my mom about how my dad felt, about me moving out, and about how I didn't feel safe living there, and my mom's like, "Huh, that doesn't sound like him." Of course, it doesn't sound like him, because he would be feeling sad if I moved out of his house. And my mom was right. My mom even said they want me out. They do. They both want me out. So I'm guessing that's why they want me out. And also, my dad would never drive me to Cygenics. That was a big one. I have to go to Cygenics no matter what. I have to. And because they're gonna drop me. They really are. And when I was about that work thing, when I had to quit, they said that if I don't show up again, I would get fired. It wasn't my fault that I was not going to work. Is because of that. It was actually my dad and my stepmom's fault for not driving me. And I have my boyfriend that lives in Romulus and has to come to Dearborn Heights all the way to Wyandotte to drive me, and that's not fair to him. He's not my guardian either. He shouldn't be my guardian. He should just be my boyfriend, and that's it. You know. So so I have no job right now. I quit my job at Golden Corrals because it was just too much for me, and I threw up all over the bathroom. So, and because my back was hurting me a lot, and and I and also the dishes are just crazy there. They really are. It's a big buffet restaurant. It's it's just crazy at Golden Corrals. It really is. And and also they were also accusing me that I kissed my brother there, which is my brother that works with me. I would never kiss my brother. I would never do that. I mean, I did do a reel about my brothers, and they're identical twins, and they're you know and I mean, they are my brothers because I do call their mom, and they call my mom, and because they do feel like they're brothers to me, and their mom feels like my mom, and my mom feels like their mom, and so I was even like, but I would never kiss my brothers. There's no way. Even though if it was my biological brother, I would never kiss him. I would hug him, but that's it. I would never kiss him, but I would hug him. But they were accusing me that I was kissing him, and and my brother, like if I got my brother on this YouTube thing, my brother can even tell you that I never kissed him. And plus, I had a boyfriend at the time. So I had a not brother. I had a boy. I have a boy. Well, not at the time. I have a boyfriend. So I would never kiss anybody there, especially when it's my brother. There's no way that I would kiss my brother, but and I would kiss nobody there. I would only kiss my boyfriend, and that's it. So they were accusing me that I kissed my brother, and that was just uncalled for. So that's why I usually quit because and I have no job right now. And so anyways, so anyways, they, so anyways, and so, and my, to be honest with you, my brother should have told me that the dishes get very crazy there. He should have told me that. And I mean, I think he forgot, but I don't, I mean, because no one has memory like me. Nobody does. Um, but yeah, he works like there for 8 hours, like either 12 to 10 or 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. or like at or like at uh or 2 to 10, like 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. I don't know. But and plus they were shifting my hours, and if they shift my hours around, my social security would blow because my social security was supposed to be making me work to 3 to 4 hours, not not 8 hours a day, because because my social security will blow. It will. So, but yeah, I don't really want to tell my mom that they were accusing me that I kissed my brother, because they're gonna already know, and it's been a long time ago. It's the first time I got hired there. It was my very first day, and they were accusing me that I kissed somebody there, and it was, like I said, my brother, and and you know and so they just, yeah, so anyways, my brother, like, not my brother, not my brother, I'm trying to think what else there was. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I just couldn't do it. Like I said, my back was hurting me. I mean, it was just a horrible thing to feel in my back. Like, my back was hurting me so much that my back needed to be cracked. That's how much it hurted. It really did. So, but anyways, yeah. Um, but, oh, and this is what I was going to say. So, the very first day the very first, like, my mom was signing some, like, a lot of papers that were, that was a handbook that she had to sign, and it said, there's no dating allowed in this restaurant, and not in this restaurant while you work here. Okay, so why would you accuse me that I kissed somebody? And plus, I already have a boyfriend, and my brother has a girlfriend, so I don't know why you would accuse me that I kissed him. So, but anyway, so, and if my boyfriend worked there with me, he would not, I wouldn't be able to date him. But he can come visit me, but I would not able to date him if he was working with me. But anyways, so yeah, I don't have to worry about that job anymore. It's because I don't work there. I quit, you know. Um, so anyways, so I'll talk in my next video, guys. There will be a part 2, which this is part 2. So, all right. Make sure you add me as a friend on Facebook. Make sure you follow me on TikTok, Pinterest, and Lemonade 8. And make sure you subscribe. Please share my channel. Please, please, please share my channel. And make sure you like this video. Give this video a big thumbs up if you like it. And make sure you hit my notification button if you want to see any more of my videos. And if make sure you subscribe. Please share my channel. Thanks for watching. Bye, guys.